We're going to talk about how to gain confidence with every club in your bag. If you're like most people, there's one or two clubs in your bag that rarely come out, especially on the golf course. You just don't feel comfortable with them. You kind of fear them a little bit. So how do you overcome that? What's the best way to gain confidence with every club in your bag? Well, for me, what I did to learn how to be confident with every club in my bag is I took out my most dreaded club, which used to be the 3-iron, okay? It's the longest iron in the bag. For many people, that's where they have the most fear. It's hitting those longer irons. A lot of you don't have a 3-iron, you've gone to hybrids. A lot of you don't have a 4-iron, you've got a hybrid replacement for that. So whatever your longest iron is in the bag, whether it's a 5, a 4, or a 3, I highly recommend that you become best friends with that club. The reason that I say that you want to take your longest iron, other than the fact that for most people it's the hardest iron to hit, is if you can learn how to be confident in that longest iron that's in your bag, you're going to be amazed at the benefits it gives you throughout the rest of your bag. Imagine if you're fully confident that you can clock a 3-iron long, high, and straight every time. Imagine what that's going to do for your 7-iron. Or for your 8-iron. You're going to stand over that ball with a 7 or 8-iron knowing, hey, this thing is a piece of cake. This is nothing compared to my 3-iron, and I clocked the crap out of my 3-iron. And you're going to find that throughout your whole bag, you're going to start striking the ball so much better. Another added benefit is it's going to give you more distance in all of your irons and in your driver. Let me tell you why. Now, although the 3-iron is the lightest iron in the bag, believe it or not, even though it's the longest, it's the smaller head. It's the smallest head out of all the clubs in your bag. The heaviest iron is the sand wedge. So I'm showing you the same here, the two clubs here. If you notice, the sand wedge, much thicker, a lot more bounce here, a lot more mass, a lot more weight to that sand wedge than there is to the 3-iron. As the clubs get longer, the heads get a little bit smaller, they have less mass, and they weigh less. So the 3-iron is actually the lightest club in the bag, out of the irons anyways. Of course, the driver should be your lightest club. But out of the irons, the longer the iron, the lighter it is. So how does that help you increase your swing speed throughout the bag? Well, if you've looked at any swing training aids that you can buy that are out on the market, you'll see they have these sticks and they've got a little weight on them, and you're supposed to work on your twitch muscles, and that's supposed to give you more swing speed. Well, that's based on swinging a lighter instrument than a golf club. The whole theory is that when you swing something lighter, your twitch muscles get faster. That's neither here nor there. We're not even going to discuss that right here. But based on that concept, you've got this longer club. In my case, it's that 3-iron. It's lighter than the rest. I'm training myself how to really smack that club. In theory, based on swing speed theory, that should make all of my shorter clubs faster. It should give me a faster swing speed. Okay. Another benefit that learning how to hit your longest clubs efficiently, effectively, accurately, and with confidence, it takes pressure off your driver on the tee box. Think about it. If you're standing on a 450-yard par 4, and your best club in the bag is a 7-iron, and maybe you only hit that 7-iron 150, 160 yards, now you're standing on the tee box and you're thinking, man, that's a long hole. I'm really going to have to crank that driver as hard as I can. I got to hit that thing 300 yards or more. Well, most of you can't do that. Most of you don't even have a chance of hitting it 300 yards, at least not yet until you've honed the swing that I'm teaching you. But that puts a lot of pressure on you. When you've got that pressure on the tee box, that tenses your body up. Everything gets tense. You start getting nervous. You get a lot more rigid. When you're rigid, you swing slow. When you're tense, you're not in control. The chances of hitting the sweet spot on the driver are slim to none, and even if you do, you're going to have slowed down because you're so rigid. The golf swing should should be supple quickness. Everything should be supple and just everything should be loose. You've heard it say the looser you are when you swing a club, the more speed you're going to generate. Also, the more relaxed you are, the better the chances are that you're going to hit the sweet spot on that driver. So now let's go back to practicing with the longest club in your bag. Let's say you do have a 3-iron and you start hitting it and you're starting to get some distance. You're starting to get that thing out there about 190, maybe even 200 yards with a good roll. Well, now you just reduced what you need off the tee considerably. Instead of needing a 300-yard drive, now you know, hey, I only need to pop this 250 because I know I've got the club in my bag that I can hit straight and accurately with my 3-iron. When you start getting to where you can hit that 8-iron 160, 165, hit that 7-iron 180, you just start reducing how far you need to hit your driver. And you're going to find that when you have this confidence, when you know you don't need to kill your driver, most of us aren't going to face too many 450-yard par 4s. But on a 400-yard par 4, if you know that you only need 240 yards because you're going to have 160 left, and shoot, I can hit a nice smooth 8-iron 160, that takes the pressure off that drive. It takes a lot of pressure off. Now you can take that driver back nice and mellow and just fire through, hit the sweet spot, and you're going to be surprised that when you start doing that, that 240 drive you were hoping for is going to go 250 and then 260. Pretty soon you're going to be hitting at 270 all the time, and now you're hitting pitching wedges into everything. So what am I saying? I'm saying, how do I practice? I take my 3-iron out of the bag more than any other club in the bag. And I will come out to my little range area here, and I'll throw down 10 balls, and I will hit 10 3-iron shots. Just 10 3-iron shots, okay? Then I'll pull my driver out, and I'll tee up a ball, and I'll hit 5 shots with my driver. Do 5 swings with my driver, smashing them into the net. Then I'll throw down 10 more balls and hit it with my 3-iron. And I will keep doing this over and over and over until I've hit anywhere from 1 to 200 golf balls. And then that'll be my practice session for the day. Why do I do that? People will think, well, what about the other clubs in your bag? I don't need to hit the other clubs in the bag. You know why? Because the Your Simple Golf Swing method is the same swing for every club. I focus. Remember, I said in an earlier video, the quickest way to lower your score is by hitting fairways and hitting greens. So I am practicing those two things over and over and over. Practice the driver, hit the fairway. I only need 5 of those. I don't want to spend all my time wearing myself out swinging as hard as I can at a driver. I do 5 nice mellow driver shots, making sure everything's nice and grooved, making sure I'm doing everything, get that chain reaction going the way it's supposed to. And then I pull out my 3-iron and I do the same swing. I do the same thing, but I'm doing 10 balls at a time, and I keep repeating that. Again, why am I doing that? Fairways and greens. I want to be able to hit the greens. And if I know that with the most difficult iron in my bag, I can hit a pure shot with every swing, then I have complete confidence throughout my bag. I don't have to worry about any single club. I don't have to worry about how difficult that 5-iron might be, or that 4-iron, or the 6-iron. They're all going to come out nice and pure. The only time that I will pull out those other clubs, the shorter clubs, to practice here in my backyard is if I'm going to play golf this afternoon, then I'm going to come out here in the morning, set this down, and I'm going to start with one of my shorter clubs. This is an approach wedge. And what I'm going to focus on with the approach wedge is I'm going to go through my process of taking the grip, getting my measurement, lining up, and getting that set up. And what I'll do is I'll hit 2 or 3 balls with every club in the bag. I start with the approach wedge, I go to the pitching wedge, then the 9-iron, then the 8-iron, then the 7-iron, and I'll go all the way up through to my driver, just hitting 2 or 3 balls each. Now, why do I do that on a day that I'm going to play golf, or maybe the evening before I'm going to go play a morning round? And just in case I can't get to the range, some of the courses down here in Florida don't even have driving ranges to warm up. It's about that measurement, okay? So here's my 3-iron. Here's my approach wedge. You see the difference in length there? Well, that's going to give me a different measurement to the ball. So I need to just make sure I go through that measurement drill, the 3-iron, and then I'll grab all my other irons. Let me grab a 8-iron here. Take the 8-iron, make sure I do that measurement, and I'll hit 3 balls so I can just remember, okay, shorter club, different measurement, and just swing on through. Perfect shot every time with the Your Simple Golf Swing method. So that's how I practice. The benefits of using your longest, most difficult iron really benefit every club in your bag, from the driver down to your wedges. So give it a try. And again, if you don't have a setup like me, where you don't have a million golf balls that you can hit, you can't get to the range and spend tons of money on bucket after bucket, do these swings in the backyard against a blade of grass. Get some wiffle balls. Get some sort of way that you can practice over and over doing the swing with the hardest club to swing in your bag. Get yourself a mat. Stick some tees in the mat. If you can't hit into a net, hit those tees. Use those as your golf ball. The tees, you'll see, if you're hitting them properly, they should come out straight, relatively straight, if you're hitting it properly. Find a way that you can practice predominantly with that hardest club to hit. And again, the benefits of the gained confidence, the gained swing speed, the pressure it takes off your driver, and really all the other clubs in your bag, it'll blow your mind. I did this for the longest time a few years back, and I didn't really realize what it was going to do to my distance. And I get to the golf course, and I'm with a buddy. We're on a par 3. It was about 150. It was 150 yards to the flag. And back then, I was like, okay, that's my 8-iron. And I pulled out my 8-iron and I hit it. And I hit that 27 yards past the flag. 27 yards. It's like, I don't hit an 8-iron 177 yards. It blew my mind. It absolutely blew my mind. I was standing about 90 yards out on a par 5, and I had my sand wedge, and it was 95 to the center of the green. 95 was my max before with the sand wedge. So I just lined up, took the club back, swung through nice and mellow, flew the back of the green. Nice and high. I didn't hit a low, runner or anything, or a worm burner. I didn't hit a laser shot. I still got this plenty of height up in the air, nice beautiful shot, and it flew the back of the green. I'm like, I don't hit a sand wedge that far. So I had to relearn all of the distances on my wedge, and that was a really good feeling. And ever since then, I've learned to play with a extra length that I've gained. My drives really started to get out there. I started to swing really a lot easier, but the increased speed, because I was swinging relaxed and with supple quickness, it really blew my mind. So again, get out there and practice with that club that you absolutely dread to pull out of your bag. Make it your best friend. You will see countless benefits.